evening, folks.
We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you, one that will provide several hours of pleasurable relaxation and diversion for you and your family. We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Bring the family. Bring your friends. We hope you have a wonderful time. Come back soon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Nights at the Pageless Library. We are a little podcast dedicated to reviewing audiobooks. I am Bo Knight, and joined as always by my brother Ryan Knight. And today we are taking a look at Dark Harvest, written by Will Jordan and narrated by Bradford Hastings.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, Will Jordan, or William Jordan, is actually the Critical Drinker on YouTube. So very popular over there. Tons of subscribers, and over there he mostly does, I think, like movie, commentary about movies and reviews and things like that. As far as being a writer goes, he's most well known for his Ryan Drake series.
Yeah.
But this book is not part of that series. And it is the most recent book that he released, and I just thought it would be interesting to take a look at his book because he is someone who, does commentary on writing and things like that in movies. I do find it very interesting that he doesn't just comment on other people's work like we do. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he actually is a writer, so he isn't just talking out of his ass like we are when he says these things. So I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at something that he had done.
Mm-hmm.
Should I do the email before we even get started in any of this?
Probably.
Okay. All right. So we had something funny to share with everybody. We have an amazing spam email we received.
It made me laugh, so I'm hoping it makes you guys laugh.
So before we even get started into the book, so it's not too distracting, I just want to read everyone this email from Mrs. Yu Ging, or Miss Quing Yu, and I don't know. I'm not even trying to be offensive. That's honestly how these emails showed up, and it's 3 emails basically copy and pasted the exact same. And I want to read the funniest one to you though. And again, you can't get offended by any of this because I'm gonna read it exactly how it's written.
Read it how it's written.
So don't get mad at me. All right.
And I'm pretty sure this isn't an actual person sending us this. It's a robot.
I have a feeling it's a robot. Okay. I am Mrs. Yu Ging Yunan, and I have COVID-19, and the doctor said I will not survive it because all vaccines has been given to me, but to no avian. Am a China woman, but I am based here in France because I am married here. And I
can't stop laughing.
And I have no child for my late husband and now am widow. My reason for communicating you is that I have 9.2 million USD, which was deposited in BNP Paribas Bank here in France by my late husband, which am the next of kin to, and I want you to stand as the beneficiary for the claim now that am about to end my race according to my doctor.
End my race? Like that just, what does that mean?
I don't know. The race of life, apparently.
I guess, but who talks like that?
A robot that doesn't understand. I will want you to use the fund to build an orphanage home in my name there in your country. Please kindly reply to this message urgently if willing to handle this project. Miss Yu Ging Yunan.
Like, the fact that they want us to build an orphanage with all of this is so weird to me.
That must have been how they wanted to tug on our heartstrings to make us think it was legit.
Yeah, but like, what do I stand to gain here besides having to take care of an orphanage?
And I like to... Do people actually fall for that shit?
Of course they do.
Well, it's like, seriously, so we're gonna be like, hell yeah, I want $9.2 million. Thank you, random person, for reaching out to me, another random person on the internet, to give your money to.
Met.
Oh my.
I am China person.
Yeah.
I can't get over that shit. Oh, okay.
Definitely sounds like something a robot would say. Yeah.
Dark Harvest.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I had to share that with you guys because
I'm sorry, that just cracks me up. I'm sorry if nobody thought that was funny, but I do.
Yeah, so if you want to send us a legitimate email and legitimately contact us, kotpl.pod@gmail.com is the easiest way to send us those communications, or send us your $9.2 million, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you can reach out to us on any platform. We have Twitter. All I do with it is I spam the episodes on there just so that hopefully they go out there into the Twitterverse, and the Twitterverse that is burning down.
Yeah, the Elon Muskiverse.
Yeah, I send our tweets out and they go up in smoke immediately with the rest of it. Yeah, you can find us on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. So just yeah, if you need to reach out to us, there's plenty of ways to do that, and please feel free to.
Okay, Dark Harvest.
Harvest.
This book, correct me if I'm wrong, it came out this year, right?
Yep. 2022 by Blackstone Publishing. Yeah, this is his latest book. And Will Jordan has quite a few titles under his belt, actually. I think all of which kind of, if I had to guess, kind of fall into this. I would guess they sound pretty similar to this, is what I'm going to say. Now, I don't know that for sure, since this is the only story I've listened to, but I'm gonna, just taking a look at all the covers, I'm gonna guess they all kind of sound similar to this.
So what did you think about Bradford Hastings?
Okay. I thought about this for a while.
Okay.
I think Bradford Hastings does some amazing voices. Okay.
Okay.
Like, this guy is really, really good at voices and at accents and things like that. Where I have a problem, and this is just me, I don't feel like everyone has to have an accent.
Okay.
And everyone in this book seems like they have to have an accent, and it can't be the same accent as the person before them. And I didn't fully understand why he made that decision. Like, he's really good at the voices, like really, really good. But not everybody has to have a Russian accent turned up to 11 or a Southern accent turned up to 11. Like,
I agree fully with you. I feel like, and I feel like he does some of the women a little strange. I don't know how else to put it.
I thought about that too, because I agree with you. Every female character that he does in this book sounds like they are scared and confused no matter what they're saying.
Exactly.
And I cannot put my finger on why that is.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't do a bad job. Like, he's not doing a bad voice. But for some reason, the inflections in the female characters especially sound like they're scared and confused.
Yeah. Even the badass lady.
Yeah. All the time. Like, that's just how they came across to me listening to the story.
No, I fully agree with you.
Now, Bradford Hastings, like, deep, gruff, hard-ass
for Becker
military man, spot on.
Oh,
like,
he's so good at that.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I could honestly find a better person to do this just deep, gravelly, just hardcore sounding voice.
I think the Iraqis, he does a really good job for that.
Sure.
I think that, like, I think all the men I have no issues with.
Yeah.
It's just like some of the women, I don't know, maybe that's 2022 eyes, but it just, like, to me, it was just like, it felt a little weird a lot of the time. Yeah, because you're right. They sound like scared and frightened. And a lot of the time, the characters themselves aren't scared and frightened. Like, the women in this book are very competent.
Yeah,
but I felt like they were voiced to be, like, inferior, it felt like. I don't know. It was just kind of weird.
And that's just it. They're written very well. The characters are written extremely well. And like you said, they are very competent characters. They're not like bumbling idiots or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for some reason in their voices, that's what they kind of sound like. It sounds like they are incompetent, they don't know what they're doing, and they're fumbling their way through situations. But that's not what's happening. So I do overall, I think the performance was good from Bradford Hastings.
I think it's the women. That's it. I think the rest of it is fantastic. His Russian accents are good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have no problem with his accents, but there was a few times where I was like, does the random guy at the gate have to have a crazy like? Well, the one guy, I'm pretty sure it's when they're on like the U.S. base. He's got like this just, you tell him in there that I got, and I'm like, does he have to have that? Like, dude, I get it. You're good with the accents, but not everybody, especially these characters that we will never meet again. You don't need to assign an accent to them, because then you're gonna limit yourself later on for characters that we need to re-interact with, I feel like. But yeah, either way, I do feel like Bradford Hastings did an overall good job. I honestly, those nitpicks are just that. They are small nitpicks.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Let's talk about the meat and potatoes of this one.
Okay.
So we listened to this one through Audible, as is usual with us. We have been talking about maybe looking at different avenues of where to get audiobooks.
Yeah.
Just in case people don't want to support, a giant like Amazon. I understand all of that. So if you have suggestions for places that we could get a hold of books, or that you enjoy getting your books from, please feel free to let us know that kind of stuff, and we will share that on the podcast and possibly look at that as an avenue going forward for us to look at as well. What is the genre of this book, would you say?
It's like a military thriller.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. Interestingly enough, in the publisher's summary on Audible, it says that this one is for fans of World War Z.
Okay.
World War Z.
I definitely see that.
If, however, you are like me, well, I don't want to get too spoilery here.
Okay, but I think I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I would say like military thriller is a good one. That's a good way to put it.
I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. This book clocks in right at 11 hours and 41 minutes. So it's actually that's a pretty long book. I mean,
it's really long.
Yeah, that's no small feat, I'm sure, for someone to write. So I do think that is that's pretty impressive as far as, again, I'm coming into this, I've watched The Critical Drinker and been a big fan of him and of his, comments that he makes and stuff on YouTube. But if you had also told me, hey, by the way, this guy's a really prolific writer as well, it would have shocked me. Which is one reason I wanted to look at this, because he comes across as this very, like, obviously his name is The Critical Drinker. He comes across as like this belligerently just drinking, does the funny voices and stuff on YouTube personality. So I just thought it would be interesting to look at this other side of him and realize that yes, he is a prolific writer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that length for this book, without getting too spoilery, do you think that is a good length for this book?
It feels a little long to me.
Okay, I would agree with that, actually. I didn't think it needed to be. Yeah, I think it could have been told in
about 8 hours.
Yeah.
I think
I would put it.
There's a lot of fluff for me, and there's a lot of like perspective shifts that you don't really are not additive at all to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I honestly felt like this could have been broken into two fully separate stories, almost.
Yeah, it could have.
And we'll talk about that a little bit more once we pass the spoiler wall, but let's see. So, all right. So what do you think? Was this one? Was this easy to follow?
I think it's really easy to follow. Maybe even a little too easy.
I think so too. Yeah. There's a couple really good setups and payoffs in this. By the end, there's a couple of twists that are pretty good, but again, not. It's not too like it's not hard to follow where they came from, right? So that's good. But yeah, it's definitely. I would say it is pretty easy to follow, even if you're not fully paying attention.
Yeah.
You're not gonna miss like a ton of stuff. Like you said, there's kind of a bit of filler here and there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have more to say about that, but it maybe gets into my recommendations.
Okay. Would you consider this easy listening for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it went down pretty smooth and quick.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because of Bradford Hastings' voices.
Yeah.
Aside from the female voices, as we stated earlier, very engaging though. Listening to all of his voices, even though I have some criticism about the fact that he has all these voices and stuff cranked up to 11, that's not to take away from the fact that helps keep the story very engaging, because every conversation feels like a conversation between two people versus him talking to himself. So what do you think? With that, let's just get into the recommendations. Let's get right into it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I can go first. I didn't really like this book that much.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the critical drinker like you are, but I think I kind of expected it to be a lot less generic than it was.
Okay.
And it felt like once I knew where the story was going, it was really, really, really predictable. Like what paces it was going to go through, and I think me personally, I'm not a big fan of like a military style book.
Yes.
Where they have like pretty much like unlimited resources, it seems like. And
I was gonna bring that up too.
I felt like this book fell into a lot of like common traps of stuff that I don't like, of like plot armor. Like I think like you put it, I felt like came up way more often than it should have.
Sure.
And like the people around the main characters kept dying, but the main characters just keep plugging along. They're always fine. I think I'm not gonna recommend this one. I think if you like a military book, like I bet Tom Clancy has some better stuff already written than this.
Sure.
Probably about almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if you like stuff about like biological warfare, I guess this could be kind of interesting. And maybe if you are interested in like Soviet Cold War era like politics stuff, there might be a little bit of that for you here. But I personally didn't really like this book that much.
Okay. I fully agree with everything you said. Once this kind of got into I like the opening of this book a lot.
Well, and I know I wanted to get into that without getting too spoiler, but I think the opening, like the book that sets up like that very first thing, and then it jumping forward, it had me so disappointed.
Yeah, I agree. I did, because I got hooked into this quickly because I thought the opening is very good. But as it progresses, and as I realize, it's just like a military story, basically. It's almost more of a story of bureaucracy than anything.
It really is.
Because
I'm trying not to say the Z word.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm trying not to either. But it's not what I was expecting. Because I was thinking of the Z word. I thought that was going to be a big part of this. And honestly, it's about 20 minutes of runtime.
It's like set dressing is all it is.
Yeah. The rest of it, and an issue I kind of had, and again, it's kind of a small nitpick, but I feel like it's important. I didn't like that our main character, Cameron Becker, I didn't like that, okay, this is supposed to be a world-altering event, and he's continuously running into people he already knows from his past that are part of it.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that, but that's true.
It would be one thing if it was like once or twice, but it felt like it was at every major event. He already knows someone that's involved in this thing, and I was like, is that really realistic? Because Becker, as far as I know, yes, he was in the military, and yes, he was part of all this stuff that was going on in Iraq, but he wasn't like some general or something that would have been brushing.
No, he was a PI, I thought. Like a MP, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, but he's not going to be brushing shoulders with a lot of like, world power type people.
No.
And that's like what seemed to have kept happening.
It did happen a lot. Like, now that you mentioned it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like what you're saying, what you said though, is kind of accurate to how I felt. Like, I was surprised how many of these things, it almost felt more like a trope. Yeah,
exactly.
And that might not necessarily be true, and I'd be curious if someone disagrees, that's fine. To me, I feel like what you said is right, that some of these things I've seen done elsewhere already, and maybe better. I honestly was expecting pretty high action, and this is not really that. I mean,
it's a lot of phone calls and shit.
Yeah, and it's a lot of like conversations about how could you let this happen again, and I'm going and you're not going. Yes, I am going with you. It's a lot of that stuff. Like there's and that's fine. Like honestly, there is quite a bit of character building and things like that. But by the end, I was still kind of like, I don't know. I don't know a lot about this main guy still.
No, dude. I'm gonna be like the part where they like try to like give you his backstory. I was like, and so what?
Right.
It's like, and so what? Like why did you even fucking bother to tell me this shit?
I honestly, I felt like that. There's another guy that I watch on YouTube, that Cordery FX. I don't know if you've watched any of his stuff.
Maybe.
But he has this part in a lot of his things that he makes fun of certain shows and stuff with the South Park thing. You must have forgot I used to be a cop too. And I honestly found myself repeating that over and over.
Really?
Yeah, but you must have forgot I used to be an Iraqi a soldier in Iraq too.
Yeah, exactly. That is true. It does come up a lot.
I mean, I understand centering it around real events, right? Like, okay, a lot of the stuff takes place in the Middle East during like the war in Afghanistan, Iraqi conflicts, all these things in the Middle East. And what's interesting is that Will Jordan, is like Scottish, right? But for me, someone from the United States, I'm so tired of hearing stories about that place because they're all just depressing, man.
Well, they're depressing, and like I feel like the setting almost doesn't even matter. Like it really doesn't.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he did center this around a real conflict versus just making something up. Like just make up a conflict, because that set dressing didn't really matter to the overarching story.
It didn't. They're not in Afghanistan for very long. Other than, like you said, to bring it up to be like, yeah, well, I was a soldier too. We were actually in the same platoon, me and you. But now I'm on the special forces on the asshole side.
Yeah. And everybody he runs into, he was like, ooh, I remember this guy from when I was in the sandbox. And
he was the best shooter around. Till he took a bullet to the finger.
I don't know. I can't exactly put my finger on it. I think I set myself up for failure a little bit here because I had, maybe I hyped this up for myself a little bit much.
I mean, maybe. But I mean, I found it to be disappointing too, and I feel like I don't have the background like the Critical Drinker like you do. I've seen a couple of his videos, and I think he's very funny, don't get me wrong. But I don't know, regular cinema makes me sad, so watching it just makes me sad, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like I came in expecting something at least unique. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does, to be honest. And that I found myself saying the same thing so often. I was like, man, I feel like I've already heard this.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and I can't put my finger on it, but yeah, there was just something about it that I was kind of, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it, even right up to the very end. And as you said, the plot armor in this is strong.
Oh, dude, it's so thick.
So
It might as well be shard plate.
yeah, so the few times where they're trying to build tension by making you think that one of the main characters is in real trouble, after like the third or fourth time of there not being any payoff to that or any issue with the main character.
You stop caring.
And can we just hold for a second on the fact that he literally ends this with a scene from Hot Fuzz?
Oh, dude, you're right. I was like, what the fuck is he talking? Oh, you're right.
You know what I mean,
I
right?
know, dude, you're right. They're putting flowers on the grave.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
shit. Dude.
It is. Yeah, dude. It is. The scene from Hot Fuzz is the end, and
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
I don't think that's what he was going for, but immediately in my head I was like, hey, wait a minute, I have seen that before.
Oh man, I would have never made that connection, but it's so true. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily know that I can recommend this one either, to be honest, because I don't know who I would recommend this to.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for like a hardcore military story, whatever that may be, you know, I don't know, like you said, maybe like a Tom Clancy type story where it's all military all the time. You like the fact that they tell you what gun they're using, and
Yeah, exactly.
they rattle off the model number of every single thing they grab. I personally, I don't like those stories.
No, I don't know. I just don't find that very interesting. It's like, I find it just as interesting if it's like a gun shoots a guy compared to like the G36C with the laser sight right on his forehead, obliterated the target. Like, I don't know. I find it about the same.
Well, and exactly the way you just said that. I don't need to know when the bad guy's pistol clears his holster. I don't need to know what model the holster is and what model the gun is.
Made from alpaca leather, slightly more supple for an easier draw.
I guess it's because I'm not really into that stuff. I guess I'm not your typical American. I'm not that into guns. Like, I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of that stuff. I know there are people out there who do, and I know exactly who this caters to. Trust me, I know that audience is out there. But for me, that's not it. Like, for me, it's just as interesting if you tell me that he pulled his gun and he fired it. That's all I need to hear. I don't need to know that it was a Smith & Wesson CSW 692-1 with an 8-inch barrel. Like, I don't need to know that stuff because it doesn't add anything to me. I know what a pistol looks like. Just tell me it's a pistol and let me fill in the blank. I don't give a shit what kind of pistol it is.
Yeah, there was a lot of talking about the submachine guns and how they don't have the penetration against the armor. I feel like that came up so many times.
Yeah. And, okay, I mean, that, you can tell me that without telling me what kind of gun it is. Like,
yeah.
It's still just as effective to me without knowing who made the gun. Like, I don't need to know that all those guys around him were holding Heckler and Koch pistols. Yes, I know what that is, but I feel like you're drawing a very hard line in the sand because you're catering to the guys who love that stuff, and you're adding a lot of shit that some people don't care about.
Yeah,
and
that's very true. Polarizing.
Yeah, it's a very hard divide. Most people, if I had to guess, don't care about this stuff.
I mean, that can't be true because look how popular the Tom Clancy books have been. Like, for fucking ever.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I guess that's exactly what I mean, right? There's a very clear divide between the people who...
Yeah, that's true.
You either love that stuff or you don't care at all about it.
It's like cilantro.
Yeah. Yeah, I just felt like that came up a lot in this book.
I agree. There was a lot of just like fucking gear jerking off.
Yeah, and for the sole purpose of that, like,
Yeah.
just trying to cater to those hardcore, gun nuts.
Or vehicle nuts. I feel like they talked a lot about like, this is an airplane with this much range and this much fuel and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
are we done like punching this book? Can we set it down to punch it some more?
Yeah, now we're gonna stomp on it.
This is when the weapons come unsheathed.
The only time when he was saying stuff that was very like military heavy talk that I was like, oh, interesting, is he kept saying something light armored vehicle, like, oh, and then the troop transport light armored vehicle pulls up, and all that kept going off in my head is when you're playing Battlefield and they're like, LAV on the approach, and I'm like, hey, that's what he's talking about, that light armored vehicle like that.
Yeah.
Now I get to pull out my RPG and shoot it at it.
Too bad my mines are already down.
But yeah, let's move on. So we're gonna pass the spoiler wall. So if you're new here, that just means we're gonna pretty much talk about the book from start to finish. So we're gonna spoil it. So if you do not want it spoiled for you, please pause the episode here. Go pick up this book, listen to it, and then please come back here and listen to what we have to say about it. And then feel free to email us your hate and tell me why you love the PP226 9mm.
Like, yeah, exactly. I would love to get very specific, like weapon stuff. That would be really funny.
You just don't know how much effort he put into describing that gun.
Yeah, it's like, don't you understand that the action on the TMP is on the left side, not the right side?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, and how that's actually critical to the story because
yeah,
when
exactly.
he was firing,
Yeah, exactly. He was laying on his right side, not his left side, because if he was laying on the other side, the brass would have hit him in the face instead of going on the ground.
Do you understand how important that was?
Yeah. It's like, okay.
And it's like, no, I don't, because it was unnecessary.
No, lol. That's all we say.
It didn't change the story. That's my point. Is it's like, okay, if it changes the story, by all means. Like if all of a sudden he's like got the Spartan laser from Halo, now that's a game changer. Yeah.
Where'd you get the plasma sword?
I'm gonna charge my laser.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta rein it in.
All right.
Okay.
Let's rein it in. So,
I like the beginning of this book where it kind of sets the scene of this native in Russia, and she is taking this artifact that her clan took from this cave that they unearthed. But after they took it, they all became like ill. We don't really know a lot about what happened to them yet.
Yeah, we just know there was like chaos and a lot of people died.
And she was the only one to survive. And so she figures if she can take it back, her tribe will be forgiven. And she's like in a horrible snowstorm. And she makes it back into the cave and it cuts away from her, right?
Yeah, that's the end of that part. Also, just real quick, I just realized that this says, so maybe I should have read this before.
What is it? What is this? What are you reading?
In the publisher's summary, it actually says that this is inspired by true events of the Dyatlov Pass incident.
Wait, this really happened?
If I had to guess, this part that we're coming up to, so directly following what you were talking about, we jump to Russia in 1959.
Which this part's actually cool too.
Yeah, so we have this crew, right? This exploration crew, essentially, of Russians that are traversing this mountain pass, right? And they end up kind of getting turned around, and a couple of them get pissed off, and the one guy is like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna go take a piss. So he goes to take a piss, which is described in much detail.
Oh yeah, there's lots of froth.
Yeah. and he notices that there's a cave where they are close to. And as you do when you're up in the snowy mountains, he goes into this dark cave.
Yeah, obviously, first move.
Yeah, and his flashlight immediately goes out. Now, I gotta give some credit where credit is due. He says he knew he should have changed the batteries in his flashlight.
He does say that.
And he didn't. So I do have to give credit where credit is due. It's not just like a horror movie where like they turn their flashlight on, they get 6 feet in, and it just goes out for no reason. He specifically mentions why it goes out. And right after his flashlight goes off, he goes through the same thing that this girl went through in the very initial scene, where she goes in this cave and she's walking into the darkness and the floor just disappears underneath her. Same thing happens to him, and he falls. The rest of the crew realizes he's missing for a extended period of time, thinking that if he just went to take a piss, he should have back went in. And we get a couple key names to remember in this. So we get Dyatlov is part of this expedition.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a key name to remember throughout the whole story.
Which, when I first listened to it, I was like, okay, why do we keep talking about that guy?
Yeah.
Like, it kept coming up like, well, Dyatlov is clearly the most experienced. Nobody knew why he was here. It like kept coming up.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that either until I went back and I re-listened to the beginning. Because to be honest, for most of the book, I didn't even understand what the first little blip about the native Russian girl was about.
I'm gonna be honest. Once we kind of figured out what it did, like what the virus was, I was like, oh, they're gonna go get her pot. I feel like I immediately knew. I don't know why.
Your ability to put strings of yarn between pictures.
Yeah. My bulletin board.
Yeah.
What does it mean? It's not very good. And I scream it all off.
Your organizing yarn lines are much better than mine, because I did not come to that conclusion.
I mean, there was a twist at the end that I did not see coming.
So the one guy falls into this cave, and when the rest of them go to find him, he mentions down there where he is at that there's a woman down there with him.
Yeah.
Hence, it is the girl from the opening scene who had fallen down there before him.
And she's like in tribal clothes.
Right. He gets brought back out, and they go back out of the cave. They bring him up, get him out. And shortly after, right, well, it's what, a couple days later, he starts to act weird.
Yeah, and they also run into a native guy, runs into them and starts talking to them and tells them that like they are on like sacred ground.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be up there.
Yeah, they shouldn't be up there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that is important.
That comes up later.
Yeah. But yeah, then the other guy like goes full. He goes like fully crazy and starts attacking everybody essentially.
Yeah, like they're trying to talk to him and he's not responding, and he like looks up and there's like blood running from his eyes.
Yeah. And
he jumps on this chick and bites her like in the neck. And the action scenes in this book are very well done.
They're good, yeah.
They are engaging. And I like how he paints this picture. Like, this dude bites this chick's neck and arterial blood sprays the inside of the tent. Like, I was like, whoa, shit, okay. And then, for some reason, every time somebody picks up an ice axe as a weapon, I just, like, oh, I don't know. I always think back to the movie The Descent.
Well, I think you're supposed to.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I've never seen it, but I know what it's about.
Oh, what the? You've never seen it? Oh.
Is it good? Is it worth my time?
Actually, yeah. I think it would be worth your time. But there's a scene in that movie. Anybody who's seen it will know exactly what I'm talking about with an ice pick, and it just, oof. So I always think back to that. And then after this dude goes nuts in the tent, it says that the expedition was found all dead several weeks later, right? It like states that. Am I wrong on that one?
No, I think I'm trying to remember. There are weird bumpers sometimes that are like real events that are sprinkled in here.
Yes.
Maybe this is like a headline. Because I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure it says that their expedition was discovered.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you're right.
But what bothers me about that is knowing the rest of the story. I guess I don't understand how then Dyatlov is involved in the rest of kind of what plays out. Did he die in that event?
Yeah, I think they all died. He was there with them. He was like the senior member.
Right.
Or is it Dyatlov's pass?
Well, it says that
is that where it is?
Yeah, it says it's Dyatlov's pass, but wasn't one of the dudes in the group named Dyatlov?
Maybe they named the pass after him?
Yeah, it does say
because he was such a good member of Sporting.
Yeah, it does say he is the, like, yeah, he's the best of their expedition. Either way.
Yeah, I found this beginning bit, like these two bits, to be very, very engaging.
Yeah, and to be honest,
I feel like my hype just went down after this.
Yeah, dude. If I'm honest, yeah. So we immediately jumped from there, from Russia, 1959, to Iraq, 2019. And as soon as I heard that, I was like,
me too. I was like,
God damn.
How much longer is left? Oh,
yeah,
10 hours. Oh,
no, seriously though, because, and again, this might be different for somebody not from the United States.
Yeah, I guess that maybe that's fair because they don't know as much about it as we do.
Well, not even that I know a lot about it. It's just that for a long time here, that's all you ever hear about on the news and on everything. And I'm not trying to take anything away from that. Like, I'm not gonna play like a bleeding heart hippie right now, but for how many years, man? Like from 2001 to like 2018, 17. This is all we would hear about fucking daily is things going on in the Middle East. So you'll have to excuse me that I don't necessarily love hearing about things from the Middle East, especially the Middle Eastern conflict that the United States went through.
But I do like that this one starts as we get our main protagonist here, Becker. He's guarding somebody else. He's not part of the military. He's just like a private contractor.
He's an ex-soldier, turned mercenary.
So they're just guarding. Oh, what's his name? Please.
Belikov.
Yeah, Belikov.
Yeah, and so what Becker is transporting, he basically is now like I said, he's a mercenary, and he's been hired to transport Belikov around Baghdad and be his kind of security detail, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And he has like a team of 2 more people. Don't get attached to them.
Yeah. So everything's pretty normal for the most part. They're driving around, and then they come up to like a traffic stop, essentially, right? Road's blocked off. The bridge is blocked specifically, so they cannot like go around it or whatever. There's a specific point where they can't go around. And Becker's vehicle, while he's sitting there, he starts to get a little uneasy because he's like, well, this is a weird spot for there to be a broken down truck blocking traffic. And immediately his truck gets freaking T-boned by another truck from the side.
Yeah.
Rolls his rig onto its top, all kinds of chaos ensues, right? Because now they're under attack. So he gets out, he ends up shooting some guy, and he realizes quickly that these guys who attacked him are in Iraqi uniforms, right? Like Iraqi military uniforms. So he thinks at first, he's like, why is the Iraqi military attacking me? And he very quickly draws the line in a little while that they are just people disguised as Iraqi military to keep themselves.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he notice one of the guy's eyes are blue?
I think, yeah, something like that, yeah. Well, he kills one of the guys. He shoots him in the kneecap.
Okay, maybe he like looks at the corpse or something.
Yeah, he kneecaps this guy from behind the vehicle, and then he walks up and he headshots this guy. And then, he realizes, he's like, no, this is an American dressed as an Iraqi. You know, he probably has like I can't think of what it's called right now, with the head wrap type thing where you wrap over your face, covers most of his face, right?
Yeah.
And then it also says that a lot of them are wearing like mirrored shades too, so you can't really see their face. But once he realizes this, he realizes, okay, something bigger is going on here. It's not the Iraqi military attacking us, it's clearly a bigger plot point. Belikov is kidnapped and taken by these guys, and they take him into a building close by, right? There's like a facility right there near where this incident went down.
Yeah, but Becker knows about that because he has trackers on Belikov, I think.
Yes,
right?
He has a tracker in Belikov's pocket.
And of course he has the best IT personnel ever. like a
course.
super hacker on his team.
Yep.
I am so tired of that trope. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Where
It's like,
there's
well,
just
I
this-
have the best hacker ever.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And he can get a hold of him immediately.
Yeah, of course.
And that guy can immediately figure out where Belikov went. Even though half the time my phone says I have fucking 4G and I can't get a video to load.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Like, what the fuck? Fucking 360p? What's going on?
Yeah. Anyway. And he realizes he took him to a warehouse or something nearby. And so Becker and his 2 other teammates with him, this gal and this dude, again, yeah, don't get too attached to him.
Yeah.
They realize they got to get in there. Well, at first they try to talk him out of it because they're like, dude, we're just a security detail. Like,
Yeah, we don't
need
have to do
call-
this.
Yeah, they're like, we need to call the military and get them involved. We're not going in there. And Becker's like, yeah, we are. And he goes and he gets some piece of construction equipment. And
Yeah, he
runs
just
through
rams
the
it into
doors.
the wall.
Yeah, and they get inside, and right after they get inside, like, I don't even remember what happens. Something explodes. Is there a bomb? Like there
is
was
a
setup,
bomb.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bomb on something that his team was checking out, but Becker wasn't checking out.
Yeah, because the girl opens the door that's booby trapped, and it explodes like her and the
Yeah.
other dude, like to the point where Becker even says he can't tell which one
Yeah.
is which because they like got
Yeah.
turned into paste.
Ugh.
So then Becker goes to talk to his.
Well, no, he gets arrested by the military police, doesn't he? And they bring him in and they talk to him. That one guy.
Yeah, but isn't that already a guy that Becker knows?
It is a guy that Becker knows.
See, and that was
But
from
he
that moment
gets
it bothered
he gets
me.
he gets like debriefed, not arrested, but just like debriefed about like why he was by a big explosion essentially. And he takes a bunch of data off the guy's laptop. But from there we switch perspectives right to the girl. Oh, what's her name? The one Dalton. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, we switch perspectives to her, and she is working in a Syrian refugee camp.
Correct.
And she's like there helping with the war, not helping with the war effort, but just patching people up.
Yes.
And then some kid comes in, and he was a rebel, so they're not supposed to help him, but they help him anyway. And he tells her that they were at some village, and he was supposed to like burn the bodies, but he couldn't handle it, so he ran away, and he got shot at. And he assumes like some sort of biological attack happened at the village because there were so many dead bodies. So she
Yes.
wants to go check it out.
Yeah, and Dalton, that's like her area of expertise, right? Is like biological.
What? Yeah. What does he call
infection or
her?
whatever. What does who call her?
What does she call herself? I mean, she's that like area of science. Oh man, what's it called?
Virologist?
Yes.
Yeah, and she works for the World Health Organization.
Yes.
So she gets together, right? Because she's also not supposed to go do what she does. Apparently, there's a
Right.
lot of
Her like handler / dad doesn't want her to go, which
that. Oh, what is his name?
I can't remember either.
Oh
We should
my
remember.
gosh. Yeah, I should remember that. Just really poor reporting on my part. Because it's important, to be honest, and later on.
It is important, and it makes sense why he didn't want her to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, it does now that I've finished the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Either way, so Dalton doesn't listen. So she gets a couple of military guys to escort her and one other person with her, right? Another gal. To go and just see what happened in this village, because she's saying, look, this kid was saying it seems kind of like a viral outbreak or something like that. We probably should know about it. So they go, and when they're there, they're looking around, looking for evidence of something. But there is, like you said, right, there's a lot of burned bodies and things like that, so there's not much they can get. But one of the security guys and this other scientist go into this room, and there's a lady in there, like crouched over someone, like, you know, very classic, like crouched over, and then she like looks back at him in the dude's flashlight, and she's like, bear, and she jumps on him. Yeah. And she friggin' kills this guy.
Yeah.
And then they realize like, holy shit, this person is obviously infected with something. And I don't remember, did both of those military guys get killed?
Yeah, I think all of them get killed. Not all of them get killed, but most of them get killed except for Dalton.
Except for Dalton, yeah.
Because to the rescue, it's Becker.
Yeah, and oh, that's right, because he pulled that info off of that dude's computer.
Yeah.
Is how he knew to go there. Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So she's in this town, running from these, people who were dead, maybe, and when they bite each other, they
spread it around. They don't have a name for it.
Like, yeah, it's just it's right on the tip of like a rotten tongue.
Skeleton.
Yeah. No, seriously, these people are like turning into zombies. Okay?
Yeah.
So
we avoided saying it for such a long time.
I know. God damn, we should have made a deal. Like,
yeah.
Can't say zombie the whole time.
Yeah. But that's what they are. And once I figured that out, I was so disappointed. I'm going to be honest with you.
The only reason I was disappointed is because like this little blip here and like one other time in a little bit are the only 2 times we see them.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though that's technically what the whole book is centered around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't. I thought there'd be a lot more action scenes, like high intensity, like, hey, holy shit, we gotta solve these problems because, there's zombies like going around. I don't even think they say the word zombie in the book.
They don't. Well, they do say it's like a zombie movie a couple times.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. But they definitely avoid saying it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't necessarily, the people don't really come back to life. It's only if you're infected.
No, it
while
like
you're
takes
alive.
you over. Yeah. It's not like gonna raise a corpse.
No, it's literally just like the virus takes over your brain and forces you to spread the virus. That's what it does.
Yeah.
And we'll find out later exactly why they are doing that. So then Becker ends up. Becker also talks with a Russian diplomat.
Yeah, I'm
right?
glad that you brought that up earlier. Yeah, that happened earlier.
Yeah, and that's important. It will come up again because this Russian diplomat asked Becker exactly what he witnessed when Dyatlov was kidnapped, because Russia wants Dyatlov back. That's why.
Yeah. And I can't remember if it happens now or later, but they figure out that he like faked his credentials and he was like extremely important, or Becker wouldn't have taken him on.
Right, yeah. And Becker realizes that, there must be something much more sinister going on here.
Yeah, so they escape the little town.
And then the town immediately gets like napalmed, right?
Yeah.
Like to the ground.
Yeah.
Like shortly after they escape. Very very Hollywood movie cliche.
Yeah, like, we just escaped. Oh, it's an explosion.
Yeah. Either way. And then that same Russian diplomat shows up there, right, in the helicopter.
No, that happens.
right?
That happens when they get taken off the lab. They actually get picked up by the security detail here. They actually get picked up by the military police looking for Becker.
Okay. Yep. You're right.
Yeah, and then they go along a lot of like, shut your fucking mouth back there, Becker. You're going to jail. No, I'm not. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
This is way over your head, dipshit.
You must forget I used to be I used to be a soldier too. Like, honestly, there's a lot of that.
But so they drive along and they get like another road ambush, kind of like exactly like the first one.
We should also mention that we do flip-flop and we get the perspective of the quote-unquote bad guys too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But like, to what avail?
Yeah. So we get this gal, this Russian gal. Is she Russian? I might just be saying that.
Her accent definitely is.
Yeah, and she also sounds like a 90-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Like
Becker.
I'm not, because he mentions that she's like this attractive kind of.
Oh yeah, she's supposed to be like a badass too.
Yeah. But yeah, then he gives her. Yeah, she sounds like a 90-year-old smoker woman.
Becker, it's time to come in.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand that choice.
I mean, I thought that was really weird.
But we do get this. We get these 2 people. So these are the people who captured. Oh my God, what's his name? I don't know.
The scientist guy.
Yeah,
The Russian guy.
Jesus Christ, why can't I remember it though? Belikov.
Belikov, yeah.
So they capture Belikov, and she comes to this other leader dude, and is like saying that they have the first fully synthesized version of the virus, right? And it's now time to start human testing, which is what led to the events, right, in that village, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So now, fast forward to a lot of I used to be a cop too type stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going with you. No, you're not. This is classified. You're not part of the team anymore.
Yeah,
Yes, I am
exactly.
still part of the team. And God damn,
So they get like a road ambush by the people, the evil people we were just talking to.
Mm-hmm.
They like ambush them, basically bushwhack the shit out of them and kill everybody except for Becker, Dalton, and that other cop guy. And then the team that was helping Dalton from before shows up and like scares them off, so they stop fighting back and they leave Becker and them alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember where they go to from there to figure out what they have to figure out next. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, they end up going into the lab.
Yeah, but how do they know where it's at?
I don't remember how they figured that out.
Yeah, okay.
Either way, they end up finding Belikov in a lab, and he's been turned into a Z-word.
Yeah, and we do get a scene that I like with him when they like put the canister in his air supply, so he like has to breathe it in.
Oh,
I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because he's trapped in that like testing thing where he can't break out of. And then Dalton examines him, right, and figures out kind of what's going on. What the virus is and how bad the virus is.
Mm-hmm.
So then they realize that this is obviously like a terrorist move to try to do something major with this virus. We don't know exactly what that is at this point, but they end up having like a standoff, right, with the Russian sniper lady. And the other guy with her.
Oh, yeah, whatever his name is.
Before that lady dies, she gets a hold of. Oh yeah, this part was kind of disappointing. The dude has a phone, right? And he's supposed to send this message out to release this virus around the world. That's the instructions he's been given by
Prophet.
Oh god damn it, I can't remember the guy's name. His like secret name. And I should know it. Oh yes, Prophet, thank you. I work with a guy with that name.
You work with a guy named Prophet?
His last name.
Oh, I was like, his first name is Prophet.
Wait, is it Prophet like Prophet or like Profit? Like a prophet of the gods, or
I think
prophet like capitalism?
I think prophet of the gods.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right. Judging by the way he sees himself.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it could go either way,
I mean,
of money,
well, but he's not trying to make money though.
Yeah. So he's supposed to send this message to let his operatives know to do their thing with the virus.
In airports all around the world.
Right. But before he does that, he starts to have a change of heart. And then he goes down.
It's not a change of heart. I thought he just wants to personally take out Becker.
Well, he kind of, yeah, in a way, yes. But then she ends up with the phone, right? Sniper lady?
Yeah.
Lady?
She kicks his ass.
Yeah, and then she ends up with the phone, and her and Becker have this weird, like, long standoff where he has the gun on her, and she's like, if you shoot me, I'll send the message. If I send the message, you'll shoot me. Oh, we're in a real freaking pickle now.
So just shoot her.
Yeah, and it takes like 15 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, just shoot her. She's a horrible person. But then that dude has a change of heart and shoots her or whatever he does.
Oh, you're right. I guess I blacked that part out.
No, he like has a freaking he ends up shooting her, and I was like, what? And he's all injured. So how
does the message get sent then?
Because as she like falls over, she's like, and like pushes the button. Yeah. And then that guy, of course, he was wounded, so then he dies too.
Yeah.
But the message has been sent. And honestly, I was like, I was like, oh, okay, the book's over, right? Like,
I thought so too.
yeah, like the message has been sent, so now that's like the end of the book, and in the next book, we'll figure out what happens. No, this is like halfway through the book.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so what happens now?
So while they're at the lab, they had test subjects in the bottom that they were testing this Dyatlov virus on, and they get released into the lab with them.
Yeah.
Lots of hijinks ensue. Everybody but Dalton and Becker dies.
Yep.
They escape to the top of the roof. It just so happens there happens to be a Russian chopper that lands and picks them up. And then as they're leaving, they shoot the lab with a rocket that sets it all on fire, so it all burned down.
Yep. And the Russian chopper that picked them up is the Russian diplomat guy from earlier.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. He's actually a great character.
Yeah. Now, this is where he gives the info dump, right? He's
Yeah,
like,
we get the big info dump about the Dyatlov virus and stuff.
It's this Dyatlov virus. It was discovered back in the 50s. And also, we should mention in between a couple of these, there was a scene in which these two Russian guys got on this plane and they took off. And the one pilot was like, I don't like this. I don't know where we're going. And they're like, we will tell you where we are going once we are in the air. And he's like, no. They pull a gun, shoot the other pilot. Everybody, plane crashes. That's all you get in this. Well, in this briefcase that those guys had was the Dyatlov virus.
Yeah.
The original one. So this dude explains that they thought the Dyatlov virus was lost forever. Clearly, this is the Dyatlov virus that is now spreading. So they're like, we got to track down where all those messages went that she sent out. Well, when she sent a message with the phone, and for some reason I'm picturing I know this takes place in 2019. But
I was
I'm
picturing
like
a flip phone. Me too.
Yeah, dude.
Where it has like the confirm message is like, oh, want to send? Yes, no.
Yeah, and she's like clicking the up down arrows.
Yeah, she's like boop, 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 really fast.
Yeah. She's doing the when you had to like push 1 3 times to get a C. Yeah. The predictive texting.
Yeah.
So they can't find out where the messages went because they were encrypted, and then the guys who got them all were told to destroy their phones as soon as they got them so no one could track the phones they went to. And what we find out is that they found a way. They put the virus in like aerosol cans, and they will release these cans in 4 major airports around the world so that it will infect everyone in the airport.
And they'll just spread from there.
And they'll all turn into zombies in about 10 to 12 days. That's about how long it takes the virus to incubate in your body or whatever it's called. So now they got a real pickle on their hands. They got to stop.
Oh no.
And we get they kind of
there's a lot like everything gets locked down.
They figure out which 4 airports it is, right?
Yeah.
Like immediately, because it's like one in the United States, one in London, one in China, and one. I don't remember where the 4th one is.
I don't remember either.
But they lock down, like they kind of just do some real easy story stuff. He's like, we found and secured the 2 at these airports already. Yeah. No big deal. Like, so then we're left with the one in the United States and the one in London. And we get a lot of story stuff about this guy in London. Now he lands there and he's waiting for his bag. Right, which has the virus in it. But the cops and everybody in there already knows that something's gonna go down somewhere at some point at some time. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, the dude gets his bag and he like tries to sneak away, even though the place is on lockdown. They shoot him. They kill him. Boom. Problem solved. They open his bag. Too late. The aerosol's been released. Dun, 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 everybody's fucked. Everybody's screwed. He already released it. And does the one in Washington get released too? I can't remember now.
Yeah, the two go off.
Okay, so now we got these 2 major airports with tons of people in them infected with the virus. So what are they gonna do? Well, Dalton, how does she even find out about the story about the girl in the cave?
Becker goes on TV, dude. and tells everybody.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because the World Health Organization
That's
puts
right.
like a kibosh on, like, you can't report what's going on, it'll cause a panic, blah 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 blah. Becker goes straight on TV, tells it like it is, tells everybody about the Dyatlov virus,
Tells
and
them
if
they're
they
all gonna turn
know
into
any,
zombies.
yeah, and if they know anything, to come forward and tell him. And so, like, after he does that, the guy from the beginning of the book that met the hikers on the hill,
the native guy.
Yeah, for some reason has an internet connection and saw the fucking broadcast.
Yeah, and he's like 90 years old.
Yeah,
he's 79 years old.
Super old.
Yeah. Although I do like that his character makes fun of that at a few points, because she says something about Twitter, and then she's like, I mean, and he's like, I know what Twitter is. Like, I thought he was a good character for sure.
But so he tells them the story. They hear that the hiking party was talking about a girl in native clothes in some cave. So they go, they track it down. And of course, like, as they're going, like, everything is getting more and more against them. They're like, the Soviet Spetsnaz have been dispatched against you guys. They're going to fuck you guys up when they see you. It just keeps getting, like, worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, which, by the way, it also confused me, because
it confused me too.
At the very end, like, well, okay, they go to the cave, right? They find the girl, and I pictured exactly this. Like, they find her, and Dalton's like, oh, okay, good. She clearly has antibodies. You know, we can stop the whole thing. I can create the vaccine, apparently right here on the spot in the cave.
Within days.
Yeah, like, we'll get it to the whole world. And I just picture, like, you hear this gun click, and it's that dude, her mentor dude from the beginning. He's like, that's far enough, Dalton. Like, and it's like, no, you were the bad guy the whole time. So it turns out that,
I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. So the twist was good, but honestly, dude, this scene plays out just insane.
It's fucking dumb.
Yeah. When did he put the C4 on the wall? When does he do that?
Know.
Like,
I don't know. When did he get himself a loaded gun when they were already flying? Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, because Becker basically put two and two together and says that he gave this dude his gun that he's now holding on them, but
which
Becker's
was
like,
empty.
But I didn't load it. Yeah, I like the idea of this, where Becker, like, holds up the clip and he's like, it works a lot better with these, as he's like flicking the bullets out, and then the dude shoots him anyways.
Yeah, he's like, boom.
Honestly, that was like I do like, he's like, I know how to use a gun. And I just thought it was funny. So yeah, the dude put like C4 on the wall in the cave, and then he goes.
So nobody could get to the body.
Yeah, because he fully explains that he funded all of this because he hates how many people there are in the world. Like, he hates.
Well,
people.
I mean, he doesn't hate people. I think he's just being honest that the world is overpopulated.
Yeah, because he's like, there's going to be 8 billion people in the world soon. There were half that many when I was young.
Yeah.
And he's like, almost all of our problems on the planet come from the fact that there's too many people. Mm-hmm. So they figured out that the Dyatlov virus was like the perfect combination of, it rapidly will kill its host, however, it doesn't kill them so fast that they can't spread it to a ton of people. So he was like, oh, perfect. We'll spread this virus across the planet. Some people will survive, no matter what. Most people will die. That's like his plan. To basically hard reset the planet. So, and he explains all this to him while they're at gunpoint, very, why did you do it? Well, let me tell you exactly why.
Yeah.
Even though he could be like, fuck you, I don't have to tell you anything.
Blam, right in the head.
Yeah, like, if he was really as hardcore as he says he is, he would have done that. And then he also, so he planted the C4. They scuffle, like, Dalton has like she's like, no, I thought you were cool and you're not, and
no.
Becker takes a bullet for her. The dude was gonna shoot her. Becker dives in front of it, takes the bullet, gets shot. The C4 ends up getting shot, right? She shoots the C4.
I think so. I'm gonna be honest.
Blows the shit out of everything. And then, but is like rescued. This is what I was talking about. The Spetsnaz show up, but they weren't there to kidnap them. They were there they weren't there to stop them. They were there to get them to safety.
Yeah, they were there to help, actually.
Yeah. But then why did the dude say they're coming for you? Like,
I don't know. I thought that was really weird too.
Yeah. And this is what I was talking about. Then we get the scene from Hot Fuzz,
Yeah.
where Dalton is standing over a grave and talking to it and saying, you know, your sacrifice was worth it. Because at the end of the cave, Becker like is dying. He's like bleeding out.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just gonna stay here for a while, and he like closes his eyes. And then we get her standing over a grave, putting flowers on it, saying, you know, your sacrifice wasn't in vain. You know, we did it. We created the cure, and you saved humanity. And then Becker walks up behind her, and he's like, I think she'd be happy here. And I'm like, no,
Yeah, I know.
dude,
That is very Hot Fuzz.
that's Hot Fuzz. That's because you think that Danny dies at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, dude, that is the Hot Fuzz ending.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it turns out it's the girl. They brought the girl out of the cave, and they buried her out there, you know, because they synthesized this cure, and then apparently it's so effective that we get a couple scenes of people in the airports like thinking they're dying, and these dudes in like chemical suits just show up, and they're like, here's the shot, there, you're better. Like, that's how quickly the cure works apparently too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then that's it. Problem solved. The world is safe.
Yeah, dust your hands off, everything's the same.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And nothing changed.
Yeah,
Boom.
that's how it really felt at the end. It was like, are you kidding me? Becker fucking lived? God damn it. And they like make the virus vaccine so fast that it's nobody even gets infected at these airports. It's so stupid.
Yeah, and we all know that's not how vaccines
I know,
work.
that's all I was thinking about it, and I was like, we can't get that shit right now. There's no way.
Yeah, especially you know, this book coming out after a certain virus
I
went
know.
around the whole fucking planet. And we know exactly how a virus going out around the planet would go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, and that's it. That's Dark Harvest. And yeah, I mean, pretty disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah, I was really hoping this wasn't going to turn into you being like, I loved it. And I'm like, oh, I did not like it at all. But I'm glad you agreed with me.
I didn't really like it though. It had good parts. It had a couple of really good writing parts that I did like.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, no. There was very few things in this book that I really enjoyed, to be honest. Yeah, and I don't know. Again, I guess I'm just not into like the whole military stuff, and I don't like when that's who our main character is like an ex-soldier, and so that's all we have to hear about is that he was an
Yeah, it does come up a lot.
And yeah, I understand that it helps set the scene for why he can do certain things that he does, or why he has the connections he has. I get that. But at the same time, yeah, I'm just like, ugh. I don't know. Oh, and Dalton becomes the leader of the World Health Organization.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about that part.
Yeah. And then Becker pulls his pants down in the graveyard and then just tucks his dick. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Because it's also a love story for some reason.
yeah, happy ending all the way around. He looks at the camera and he like puts his thumb up and
Thumbs
he
up, yeah.
winks.
Yeah, like, yeah, from his eye, yeah. And then it does like one of those fade outs.
Yeah.
There's the sun setting behind them.
Yeah, and then that
Perfect.
song from Orgasmo plays. What makes a man?
Yeah. Let the
Now you're
power
a
in his
man.
hand.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Oh man,
right.
that's the movie I want to see. I was scrolling through a couple of the so this doesn't have a ton of reviews on Amazon. It has 258 or on Audible, sorry. 4.6 stars, but the second review is actually
I know.
pretty bad.
Yeah, but it kind of sums up how I feel too.
Yeah, exactly. They say there's a lot of like, you know, ex machina type of stuff, and I feel like more and more often now I try to be aware of those things when they happen. Like when all of a sudden something happens out of nowhere to interrupt what was gonna happen. Like that does. It happens a lot in this. And it's very interesting, just this one paragraph, the review is actually pretty long, but this one paragraph, it says, well, color me disappointed. Dark Harvest is just not a good book. It's a typical color-by-numbers thriller full of action movie tropes, cliches, and Deus Ex Machina moments that left me praying for a swift end to the book. The dialogue is cheesy and predictable.
I felt the same way.
The story is wafer thin and well-worn. We're definitely not breaking any new ground here.
Yeah.
That was written by somebody calling themselves BMO, so just because I am taking something off of your review.
I don't, but that's from Adventure Time. That's BMO.
Okay, BMO. Gotcha. Either way, I do. I mean, I feel the sentiments in this review, that it is pretty disappointing. I find it interesting, too, that they even put the performance as only 2 stars. I was going to see if they wrote why they put the performance as only 2 stars. Because I thought that the narration by Bradford Hastings was pretty good. What's more disappointing to me than most, the treatment of the protagonist, Becker. Was he the protagonist, or was it Dalton? It's hard to tell. Becker, the designed main character, is often portrayed as a dumb, incompetent
Yeah,
instrument.
it's pretty true.
Rarely capable of any idea or thought that doesn't go boom. He walks into trap after trap, and is only saved in most cases by the smarter, more capable, infallible lead female character Dalton. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the interrogation scene. Oh yeah, I forgot Dalton's interrogation. Yeah, where she threatens to give the dude the virus. He doesn't die. She threatens to give him the virus. Remember?
I forgot. You're right.
Yeah, and then he tells him.
That scene's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, even though it was. Yeah.
Okay,
all the suspense,
maybe.
though. I felt like in that scene, even all the suspense is lost because then the narrator just tells us what she's doing.
Oh yeah.
Instead of like afterwards, she could have come out of the interrogation room and been like, "Okay, I got the answers. We got this, and this," and Becker could have been like, "Holy shit, how'd you do that?" I threatened to stick him with this needle that I told him the virus was in, and explained why. But the narrator literally tells us that the dude was scared, but in the syringe it was just, whatever, saline solution or whatever it was.
It's iodine to make it look red.
Oh yeah. Yep, there you go. See? But the narrator told you that.
He did. That's
it
why
would have been better if she had explained it to
That's true.
someone else. Now, yes, I understand that's probably a thin line too, because then maybe she is only telling Becker to technically tell us, the listener. But it would have made more sense if she had gone in there with a plan that she didn't tell anyone else about.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
I don't know. I'm not a writer, so I'm just a whatever, backseat driver.
Asshole.
Oh, asshole. Yeah, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I knew.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's Dark Harvest by Will Jordan, the Critical Drinker. So let us know what you guys thought. Please feel free to email us.
If you want us to check out more of his books, I guess I would try.
Yeah, maybe you have a favorite. Maybe you have a...
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it. If you have like a favorite of his, tell us about it.
Yeah, we would like to hear about it. I'd be curious to know if all of his books are similar. Again, I'm judging these books by their cover. They look similar.
Well, I can tell you they're definitely the same.
So, seriously though, please feel free to get a hold of us. kotpl.pod@gmail.com is the easiest way to do that.
Yeah.
Do we know what we're doing next? Just out of curiosity.
No.
Okay.
Well, no, because I want to save that one till maybe the 25th.
Yeah, we got some good holiday ones coming up. We're in preparation for, but as far as like the rest of the month leading up to Christmas time, we are not exactly sure. And I mean, if you're in the future listening to this, you really don't care because you might...
Shut up already! I know you guys didn't release anything for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. You got anything else on this one?
No, just thank you all for listening. I'm sorry if we disappointed all the Will Jordan fans.
Yeah, come at me, bro. I mean,
Well, I feel like you're a Will Jordan fan, so...
I am. And I still am. Like, I'm not gonna be like,
No, I feel like this reflects nothing on his YouTube content.
no, I'm not. Just kidding. I unsubscribed and I left him a horrible comment that he will never
Right.
read.
Suck a dick, dumb shit.
No, I mean, it is what it is, you know? I hate that saying, but
Right. You hate that saying?
I hate it with a passion.
What are you supposed to say?
don't know.
What are you supposed to say?
That's what bothers me so much is there's nothing else to say about it.
I feel like it's such a weird one to be upset about. I just feel like I say that all the time.
A lot of people do, and I don't know.
What else am I supposed to say? That played out how it played out. What am I supposed to say?
I don't know. Because it is very fitting. It just bothers me. Okay.
I'll work on it.
Okay, no. Let me say, I only hate it when people use it incorrectly. Let's say it that way.
Okay, give me an example.
Like when your tire is flat and someone's like,
okay.
It is what it is. It's like, no, you need to just fucking fix it. It's
that's not it is what it is.
Exactly.
To me, is what it is like, oh, there's some snow on the roads today.
Yes, that it is what it is. You don't have you can't control that.
Yeah.
That's when it bothers me.
I understand why you're upset.
Yeah, that's when it bothers me, is when it's something that could be controlled and someone's like, well, it is what it is. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, stab myself with this knife. Well, it is what it is.
No, you can easily change the situation.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Why are you bleeding? Stop.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
This raccoon chewing on my foot, it just is what it is.
Just gonna let him keep doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Again,
this episode has probably been like half just nonsense and half actually talking about the book.
Yeah. Kind of like the book we just listened to.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate every single one of you.
And we hope to catch you guys in the next one.